even about 2 days later, you might get the migraine from something you've been eating daily for the last few days. Or something you just ate once. It could come out 2 days later. But what I'm trying to say is that I did all the research already, and I lived the problem, survived the problem, and I'm 100% migraine free. And the reason is because after being severe, taking a bite out of something, causing a migraine instantly. I mean, it was horrible. That's how severe mine was. After going through that, which actually caused a lot of dizziness problems, which caused walking problems, air pressure, pain, and all kinds of vestibular problems, I knew that at least I could give it a try to peel away the certain foods and change it up and see what happens. And if I could be migraine free, that's great. In my case, is migraine free if it's not a processed oatmeal. That means that when you check the oatmeal, make sure in the ingredients it just says oatmeal. Old oatmeal and some honey on top, and a little bit of honey is a little bit of sugar, and you do need sugar, but like I said, don't overdo it. I put honey on my oatmeal, and I also put pumpkin seeds, which is high in magnesium, which is actually what neurologists suggest for preventing migraines, because it promotes muscle relaxation. And magnesium, yeah, like you could find it in the vitamin shop, and some people use it. I prefer to get it from the food itself, and pumpkin seeds is very high in magnesium, but get unsalted and unroasted plain old pumpkin seeds, because once they're roasted or salted, they've been processed too much, which trigger migraines. So there I am eating my pumpkin seeds, honey, and oatmeal. You don't have to put pumpkin seeds in it, because if you but here's the bad news: you can't put nuts in it. So you should. There's seeds that are safe, but nuts, none of them are safe for migraine. So right now, eliminate nuts. It's temporary. Don't have any nuts. That's a migraine trigger. I was surprised too, because they're healthy for you, but something about nuts is a migraine trigger. The research has already been done. You don't have to bother looking this up, and I lived through it. So I eliminated my almonds. It felt bad, but pumpkin seeds are very healthy, and they're high in magnesium, opposite of migraine food. So this is migraine safe food, and what do? I'm having my oatmeal in the morning. I'm adding some blueberries, which is very high in antioxidants. You only need 11 minimum to get your antioxidants for the day. Put some fresh blueberries in there. If they're old, it builds up tyramine. We're going to talk about that. Foods that are older or been in your refrigerator for too long, especially food that's high in protein, like chicken, fish, and meat. If it's more than 2 days old, if it's a leftover, don't eat it. It will trigger migraines because it builds up a chemical called tyramine, which is like when the food is sitting around, it just gets aged. It's just an aging type of problem we have here, which triggers migraines. So you need fresh fruit and fresh food, or you could freeze it. So if you're buying your fresh fish at the store, freeze it right away if you're not going to eat it right away. Berries, hey, you want to stock up on some so you can have it throughout the week? Freeze them when you buy them. Look at the most fresh date you can find. Oh, it's going to be Best Buy 2 weeks from now. Let me get that. But you know what? Mangoes is a migraine-free fruit if it's fresh, and it has many vitamins, like a multivitamin. You want to have processed vitamins that are over the counter that are filled with lots of ingredients and chemicals, even though they're healthy in terms of the vitamins. You could get it from food, which would just give you the vitamins instead of the chemicals. But I don't want to make a 100-minute video, but I'm still having my breakfast here in terms of what I described to you. So let's go to lunch. So my breakfast looks something like that. It could be those safe fruits and some some oatmeal. And you want some protein with breakfast. By the way, you could put, the pumpkin seeds is the protein. There you go. Lunchtime. Lunchtime is a safe protein that's fresh, like I said. It could be fish like salmon. Unfortunately, not shellfish. A lot of them are migraine triggers. Salmon's okay. Salmon's fine, and it's very high in vitamin D if it's wild caught salmon. That's how you'll get your vitamin D. You have about 400 or 400 or 500 milligrams of vitamin D in your serving of salmon that day, and you get a little vitamin D from the sun. Don't overdo it. You'll get your vitamins in there if you're avoiding chemicals over the counter. Those type of vitamins I had to stop, but you have to get the vitamins from food then, and you have to be educated on that, which I'm trying to do for you guys now. So here you're getting your multiple vitamins. We're having our salmon with what on the side? What are we having on the side here? Let me tell you what we're having. Vegetables, they're loaded with nitrates, which causes, you guessed it, migraines. Nitrates dilates your blood vessels in your head. And I was having so many nitrates at one point because I thought, oh, I'm having healthy broccoli. This is great. Spinach. Oh, spinach has almost more almost more nitrates than any vegetable that you could think of, except beets. Beets has the most. Here you think you're being healthy. I know you're eating vegetables, but you're getting migraines from it. Weird, huh? Stick to the mango, stick to the berries for now. Blueberries, blackberries, they should be safe. Raspberries. Stay away from grapes. It has sulfites that causes migraines. Yes, the research has been done for you. I hope you're enjoying this. At lunchtime, instead of that, what are we having? Let's get back to number 2. Meal number 2. What are we having instead of nitrates from vegetables? As a side, we could have plain white rice, plain brown rice. There you go. Not processed rice. Same idea as the if it's over the counter, don't get something that's like a mixture of a type of rice or has chemicals and all these fucking ingredients. It's spicy. I know it tastes great when it's rice-a-roni, spicy, bologna, whatever you want to fucking say. But look, you gotta have plain rice. It doesn't taste so good. Hey, this is plain shit, but you'll be migraine-free and get your life back. This is temporary. And you could reintroduce some bad food again later on. Once the migraines are gone, you can mix your diet up. By the way, your blood pressure is going to be good after this diet. Your blood work's going to look good. You're going to be migraine-free. You're going to lose some weight. Stick with me here and do this diet. Please get rid of your migraines. And you'll even get healthy eating that plain rice and put a little olive oil. Olive oil! Big friend of yours, big friend of mine. You're going to be a friend of olive oil. Let's see. Some people tolerate olive oil very well. It probably won't trigger a migraine. Try a tablespoon at first, see how you feel. Put it on every meal that you have. Put a little olive oil. I even put it on my oatmeal. It's a substitute for butter. Yeah, make it moist. Put a little olive oil. Olive oil is such a strong superfood. This is what recommend for longevity. It contributed to the blue zones being the longest living people of the world, like blue zones like Italy, because they're living on olive oil. So here we go. I'm putting olive oil on some of that rice and salmon. I'm good to go. And some black pepper. It's not a migraine trigger. Spice everything up. To have sodium. You have to have, but not too much. Our bodies need sodium. We need sodium to avoid migraines. But when we have too much sodium, our blood pressure rises, our head and our muscles get stiffer. Sodium could trigger migraines if you're having too much sodium. So now you're going to have a better blood pressure too, like I said. So you're having things that are lower sodium. And you're making sure you have sodium because you need it. But everything's a balance. And you're having your lunch here. And if you don't like salmon, you can have beef. Try to get things that are no ingredients. It's just plain old beef. Try to make sure that chicken's injected a lot to plump it up, and it's injected with, you guessed it, chemicals. MSG, which is monosodium glutamate, is actually more than one thing. It's not just sodium. It's a bunch of chemicals that preserve the food. It makes it salty, but it's not just, it's actually, ironically, not just sodium, even though it's called monosodium. It's in processed food to preserve it, in our boxes, in our canned food, and our packaged food. Unfortunately, avoid all processed food, which tastes fucking great, but like I said, you'll be able to reintroduce it later on after you get rid of these fucking migraines. Then you can have a little processed food here and there. And processed food has a lot of sodium in it, by the way. So I eat things that are fresh, like salmon, not processed. Not salmon that you would find all processed up, like a Twinkie. Well, a Twinkie is very processed. A Hostess cake is processed. You got the picture? A fresh bakery is not processed, but here we go. This is going to be weird. This is very weird. Keep in mind, we all are similar but different. These are well-known migraine triggers, but maybe not for everybody. But fresh baked. This is going to sound weird because I just said fresh meat is fine, fresh everything else is fine, but fresh baked bread, like if you get a fresh slice of pizza and the bread was just baked, because of the activation of the bread, and that process could trigger a migraine for some people. What do? You eat it 24 hours later, you bring the slice home, you put it in the refrigerator. Leftovers is weird, huh? That's for bread. But good news, it doesn't seem to be a problem for everybody. If you want to have fresh bread, go ahead, or fresh baked goods from a bakery. But you know what? That's so many fucking carbs anyway. Have pasta or rice instead, and that's going to be safe. Just like the rice, get plain pasta, not processed. Just get Barilla, Ronzoni, the blue box. You know what I'm talking about. You're going to see there's only 2 ingredients: Salomina and durum wheat. I think those are the 2 that just make it plain pasta. Actually, it's sodium-free also. Pasta is a sodium-free food. What are you going to put on this pasta? Put the salmon right on it. Put the beef right on it. Put a little olive oil on it. Put some spice on it. Some low-sodium spice. Can you have sauce? It could be very processed. You might have a problem. There are some safer sauces. If you could find a sauce that's onion-free, free from onion powder, because onion powder is a migraine trigger, it'll be a safer sauce to try. I avoided all sauces in the beginning until these migraines went the fuck away. I was just having olive oil and black pepper. I was really being strict. But also my health got incredible, and the doctor was like, what the fuck? My blood pressure was better than ever. He's like, you know what? Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And the migraines went away. Number 3, we're at dinner time, and now you're having, you want a vegetable again. Let me give you corn. Corn is not a migraine trigger at all. Not for me, at least. Everyone's different. No, it's on the research. It's not supposed to be a trigger. I have corn, put a little olive oil on it, and you guessed it, some spice or black pepper. Not salt, not butter. Unfortunately, another thing you need to avoid is certain dairy products. Yogurt, which is very healthy for our gut health, is actually a migraine trigger. Speaking of yogurt and dairy, some of them are yogurt. I don't have yogurt except once in a while for the probiotics. When I feel my stomach's feeling a little weird, have some yogurt, clear that up. It's good probiotics. Unfortunately, pickled food is also a fermentation process. Aged stuff, aged cheese, not the fresh cheese like fresh mozzarella. If you have aged cheese like feta cheese or Parmesan, unfortunately, it's a migraine trigger. Not for everybody. Test yourself out. I'm just giving you the general research, and what I lived on was a very restrictive thing that cleared up my migraines. You guessed it, 100%. So here I am eating my corn at dinner with what? Salmon or beef or chicken that's very plain, that has nothing written on the package, no ingredients. Now, what's the safest chicken we could eat, since they're all injected with this thing that plumps it up? And we're trying to avoid chicken until we get rid of these migraines. But you don't want to avoid chicken completely. So what do? You could get an air-chilled chicken. Air-chilled chickens, they go through air chambers, and they actually have a better flavor to them, from what I hear, because the crispiness is somehow preserved without being, and they're not getting injected or dunked in some kind of solution, which we call, you guessed it, MSG. The FDA approves it and says all natural on the package, but it's not actually all natural. They're just injecting it with something that was made from some natural ingredients, but because it was injected, it was made in the lab, and because it was made in the lab, you guessed it, it's processed. And the FDA is just hiding with this code as one of the ingredients. It says all natural ingredients, blah, 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 blah. That's one of those code words for natural MSG. Don't trust it. It's all bullshit. What are you going to do, folks? I'll tell you what you're going to do. You're going to have the plainest chicken you could find, or some beef, or some salmon, or some other fish. Avoid shellfish. Some of it is migraine triggers. And shrimp sometimes has the same problem as chicken. Sometimes it gets dunked in a solution or injected or something like that. But test it out. If it's a known migraine trigger, that don't have it every day. Like, I don't have pizza every day because it's there's certain things that could have onion powder in the sauce. The bread could have that problem I told you about. It could be so activated that and there may be Parmesan cheese mixed in with the fresh mozzarella when they make the cheese. But what you could do is test it out. Don't have pizza every fucking day, or it's going to build up in your system, because a migraine trigger is a stacking system. If you had a bad night's sleep, you had some stress, your neck is starting to get stiff, I don't know, you just you're working out hard and you're doing your exercise, but you didn't rest enough. And then you ate the wrong thing, and then you eat chemicals, and then day after day, the last 5 days, you're eating this shit and that shit. Then even your multivitamin, which is full of chemicals, all of a sudden that's the last straw, and that's the last thing in the stack that gives you a fucking migraine. You're like, how the fuck did I get a migraine from a multivitamin? Happened to fucking me. Happened to me. So what am I going to fucking do for vitamins in case I don't get enough nutrition in this meal plan that I'm telling you? You need a multivitamin to cover you and supplement your deficiencies. You could get a transdermal vitamin patch. What's a transdermal patch? You put it on your skin, it looks like a sticker or whatever. They have clear ones, you won't even know it's there. And they sell these things for, bariatric patients that have trouble swallowing pills. They're known to wear these patches for their vitamins. It has no chemicals because it's going through the skin. They don't have to mix it and preserve it and condense it like those over-the-counter vitamins that we like taking. And who likes swallowing all that shit anyway when you could just stick this thing on? So I'm just giving you that as a side tip to remember. Look into transdermal patches for vitamins. And let's see. What am I having for dessert, man? Every day I was living on Haagen-Dazs vanilla ice cream. Vanilla Haagen-Dazs has only like 4 ingredients. They're all natural, like 4 or 5 ingredients. It's going to be like egg yolk. It's going to be like cream and cane sugar or something like that. And there's a milk. It's basically made like with those type of whole foods. And you guessed it, no chemicals. That's one example, Haagen-Dazs vanilla ice cream. And yes, I stay away from those known migraine triggers, which is processed shit on top of the ice cream. Instead of that, you could put your seeds on top of it that I talked about earlier. I'll put some blueberries in it. But if you want the antioxidants to work, that's another story. Dairy blocks the absorption of antioxidants. Try not to have the berries at the time you have the ice cream. Try to have your berries in your oatmeal instead or something like that. The ice cream, you can put some honey on it as a topping with the pumpkin seeds. It actually tastes great. That's basically what a day looks like for me. That's an example. What kind of bread do I eat? We know I eat pasta. What kind of bread? You want to hear something crazy? McDonald's has safe bread. Just the plain burger. If you get a plain burger with no salt added, you tell them no salt added. Those burgers are safe too. McDonald's, not all fast food places. McDonald's, their factory, they're just popping it out fresh, and they haven't been packaged, and they also don't add because they're known for that type of purity. Believe it or not, they have that grade, that good grade USDA. That meat. That beef is the good grade meat. And the bread is almost chemical free, believe it or not. Sometimes I just buy that bread and freeze the bread and use that bread for my sandwiches during the week. And what I put on those sandwiches is sometimes I put the salmon on the sandwich or that plain chicken. But like I said, chicken is tricky. Stick with the salmon. Stick with the vitamins from the salmon, which is 400 milligrams of vitamins if it's wild caught. That's another way I get my vitamin D. If it's wild caught salmon, a serving of that is like 400 to 500 milligrams of vitamin D. If you want some more information, you don't like what I eat, there's so much migraine-free food out there, and it's all been researched and it's been uploaded. Go to a good source and figure this out. It's there. We have the internet. Thank God, the research and all these years of research has been available, not like many decades ago. And that's how I got started figuring out my meal plan for the week. And that's an example of my meal plan. I'm going to stop the video now before I talk too long. I think you got an idea. And now I've given you some hope that there's a way to clean it all out of your system and become migraine free, which I did, which I am. I'm migraine free. Now I had such a severe case that I started medication also from a neurologist, so it stays daily in your bloodstream, and that helped me supplement me while I figured out the diet, because for me it was the diet was triggering my migraines. It was obvious. Now for some people it's not obvious, but it's happening and it's hidden and it's something you even been eating every day that you don't know is building up in your system. So if you want to figure out things and experiment and clean up your diet, you could do that. But if you need a medication, please do that. The quick fixes, like I said, could end up giving you withdrawal and more headaches. Stay away from caffeine, but don't just eliminate your caffeine completely, because then you can get withdrawal from eliminating that. So try to cut it down less and less and less. If you need a little coffee each day, I do drink a little coffee here and there, and my body, I don't get withdrawal because my body's not used to so much coffee. Now there's less of a chance I trigger a migraine, because caffeine could trigger migraines if you have too much or too little. If you're not a coffee drinker or a caffeine person of any type right now, don't start. Don't start it, okay? No, get rid of these migraines first. Anyway, guys, I'll leave you with that. And you pretty much heard what I drink, and I drink water, of course. Stay hydrated. No other drink, no processed drinks, none of that chemical shit right now. Just stick to water. Stick to a water that works, that you know, that you feel fine. Water hydrates you. All kinds of functions go well in your body. And when you're hydrated, sometimes those migraines disappear. And remember, you need sodium to balance out the water in your body. Do not cut out sodium completely. Sometimes we're not getting enough sodium, which causes, you guessed it, migraines. It's a balance now I gave you. Let me go before I talk for another 30 minutes. Guys, it's not as difficult as I made it sound, I hope. Have a good day. God bless everybody.